My name is Benjamin Akako. Welcome on The Pulse. Now, coming up, patients pay for more laboratory services as cath scientists strike enters day 2. Now, this week from our correspondents, we talk about the critical water situation in different parts of the country, which has claimed lives of people with no other alternative to safe drinking water sources. There's more on this from our reporters. Now, striking members of the Association of Senior Staff in Public Universities say they remain unfazed despite assurances by government to address their concerns through negotiations. We stay on labor-related matters as we bring you what is happening in that specific regard. There's a lot more that we'll be bringing you in that respect, of course. So let's start from here. The general manager of City FM and City TV, Bernard Kokuavle, has described the latest National Security Ministry move to withdraw its officers involved in the alleged assault of Caleb Kuda, a journalist with the media organization, as inclusive. This signals the media house's intent to push for more action. The National Security Ministry has sanctioned 4 of its operatives for their involvement in the assault of the journalist. The investigative committee commissioned by the ministry indicted the Director of Operations, Lieutenant Colonel Frank Ajiman, and 3 police officers for their misconduct, which was said to be in contravention of its standards of operation. Now, speaking earlier on News Desk, security expert Professor Kwesi Enning said the National Security Ministry should have punished the officers and not referred them to their mother organizations. He also said the statement announcing the withdrawal of the personnel must have informed the public of the standard of operation for national security operatives.
Well, I think this is very welcome development in terms of the public outcry about the behavior of the national security operatives and the treatment of young Mr. Caleb. However, the statement also opens up lots of other critical issues that we need to discuss and to bring onto the fore. One of them relates to standard operating procedures. How should operatives or those who work under the national security framework actually treat people? How should they go about their work? Secondly, if the police officers, the 3 police officers, and Colonel Ajiman have flouted the law, then I don't think they should be sent to their parent institutions. Because they realize the controversy that I've been talking about all of last week and this week, that the nature of the structure, what they now call apparatus under Act 3010, if the apparatus of national security draws on different institutions and their personnel for them to act, then when they flout the rules of Ghana, then they must be punished under that act. You see, because by sending them to their parent institutions, we are not too sure what types of punishment will be meted out to them.
And that was Professor Kwesi Enning. But now legal practitioner Samson Ladi-Anyenene has said the statement by the National Security Ministry is an admission that Caleb Kuda was assaulted. He, however, questioned the words used to describe the event.
The same person who is authoring this report, calling accessing a premises unlawful, is unable to call the torture of a journalist by people supposed to be professionals as criminal, as unconstitutional, and as unlawful. All the doubting Thomases, some of whom were doubting deliberately, mischievously, some of whom were doing it purely for their very useless political propaganda. This is the first start. Confirmation from the ministry itself that Caleb was assaulted, he was manhandled, he was tortured. They just needed to use those words rather than say inappropriate and say there was a breach of convention or conventional operating procedure. This was witnessed. People saw it. People witnessed it. So you can't run away from this. If anything at all, they have leaked a part of what Caleb was videoing. They should leak the CCTV of what was going on when he was handcuffed, he was kneeling down, and they were beating him.
Well, from that, let's move on. And striking members of the Association of Senior Staff in Public Universities say they remain unfazed, despite assurances by government to address their concerns through negotiations. Ministers of Labour and Employment, Education and Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, representing the government, met the leadership of the association with a promise to further negotiate with the group. But leadership of the association insists the Wednesday meeting cannot compel them to rescind their decision. It comes as a task force formed by the association moves from office to office on various campuses, ensuring full compliance with the directive to stay out of work. Now, let's get an update from National President Zakaria Mohammed. They have been meeting with government on the matter. Mr. Mohammed, what next with your members? You have dug your heels in and you are saying you're going to go ahead despite all the efforts to get you back to work. What next as far as your members are concerned?
Yes, what next is that on Wednesday we met with the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, the Minister of Education, Fair Wages and Salary Commission, Controller Accountant General Department, and and we had an agreement. We came out with a 5-point statement. Now, what remains outstanding is the fact that the point 4, we were of the view that the decision to call off the strike or to maintain it is the business of the National Executive Council of our union, which is the higher decision-making body of our union. So, as it stands now, I am mobilizing to ensure that we convey a National Executive Council meeting, and then a communique will be issued to government as to whether we are in the position to call it off or not. But what happened is that we need to have the National Executive Council to also begin to have a bite on what transpired between us and the government side. Then after that, we can make an informed decision going forward.
What timelines do you have, Mr. Mohammed, when it comes to this NEC meeting that you speak of? How soon are you having this meeting?
Yes, we are thinking of meeting latest by Wednesday, but it could be Monday depending on the resources that are available at our disposal. Because we are talking to our national trustee, and within the shortest possible time, I'll get the updates from him, and then we'll decide on a venue, and then all the National Executive Council members meet at a particular place yet to be determined, and then we can begin to discuss what transpired between our association and the government team. And then whatever comes out of it, which will be communicated to the media and to the government team.
And maybe finally, do you feel you have the consensual support of the entirety of your group, not just your institution, but are you hopeful that you're going to have a broad support moving forward so that you can lobby en masse on this matter?
I am very optimistic because members of the union have been hard hit. Because the matter of the tier 2 pension areas is a subject matter that concerns everybody. And the fact that their conditions of service have not been renegotiated since 2008 is also another matter for them to be worried. And to the effect that the non-basic allowance and the market premium has not been awarded to the senior staff of public university in Ghana is another matter for concern. So we are going to look at the standard of living of our members and probably make an informed decision based on that. Even though some assurances have been made by government, but we are still very skeptical. But whatever happens, whether the skepticism is going to translate, rather maintaining the strike or calling off the strike, the National Executive Council will come out with that decision.
Mr. Mohammed, thank you very much for engaging us on this subject matter. Thank you for your time. So we move on from there, and patients who need laboratory services at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital say they are forced to spend more on services provided by private facilities. They are worried the continued dependence on private facilities could escalate the already high cost of treatment at the hospital. The concerns of the patients come as a strike by laboratory scientists at Cath enters day 2. Oheming Tewia, who has been monitoring the situation at the hospital, has more in the following report.
The over 300 medical laboratory scientists are not happy with the decision by managers to post 2 medical officers to the directorate. They insist the appointment of the 2 is intended to sideline its members qualified for the position. Members say they will continue to withdraw their services until the decision is reversed. Some of them were seen idling about in the presence of their disappointed patients.
Since they are saying they are going on strike, it means you have to wait till they resume, so that if you're able to get our results, you can send it to our respective doctors who are supposed to take care of us.
Many patients seeking laboratory services were left stranded. The laboratory scientists, laboratory technicians and laboratory assistants, however, say they are concerned about the impact of the strike. Ernest Bedu-Boateng is chairman of the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital branch of the association.
I'm not a happy man, because if I am happy with what is happening, probably this strike would have happened 2 years ago. We are not happy because we decided to dialogue for good 2 years, but management, the ministry did not heed to our call. That's what has brought us to this stage today. So it's an unfortunate situation, yes, but we pray that even as the strike is in its early hours, the authorities, the ministry will come in and resolve matters for us so we can quickly resume work and stop this needless inconvenience and needless patients going around searching for a place to do lab tests. All these things could be brought to a halt if management and the ministry could act on this matter and resolve this matter holistically.
Mr. Bedu-Boateng blames management of CAT for the outcome of the impasse. According to him, management downplayed the threat from the association.
We are always seen as the weaker point or the underdogs, because laboratory has always been seen as a place where doctors can easily colonize. And so when we back, it's like we are treated with disdain. We are treated as if we can't act on the issues that we have raised. So based on that, we also have to show management that yes, we don't just talk in vacuum, but we are ready and we are resolute.
Meanwhile, authorities at CAT say the hospital is reeling under the impact of the strike. Public Relations Officer Kwame Frimpong speaks measures to mitigate the impact.
Definitely, if you have your in-house medical laboratory scientists going on strike, definitely will be affected. And if even you put in alternative measures like we are doing, it will not be as rapid and as effective as if you have your in-house team working 24/7 as they used to be. But this is a crisis, and we are doing everything to mitigate the impact. There are some contingency measures to provide some level of laboratory services for our patients. Enough arrangements are being made, and it is hoped that very soon the hospital will be able to serve the numerous patients who come here as far as laboratory services are concerned. In fact, arrangements have already commenced, and we are in talks with some partners, including hospitals and private laboratory service providers in the city, so that we can put in a system that will ensure that samples that are collected at a hospital are processed by these partners.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oheming Tewia reporting.
So you would recall that yesterday we had some interaction with Dr. Rahmani of Cath, actually, with the laboratory scientists, and he made mention of a number of issues, feeling that these 2 medical officers were being imposed on the laboratory scientists, and that indeed this whole bit about having them report to them was not in order. Of course, other issues have come to bear with regard to the real role hematologists actually play in this respect in a laboratory setting. And shortly, we're going to get into the details as we engage some of those in charge to find out what the situation really is. Oheming Tewia spent the whole day at Cath. He joins us now on Zoom. So, Tewia, do tell us, What is the current situation in CAF now? We've known that over the past few days, patients have not been able to get what they need in terms of laboratory testing. They've had to go to private facilities at higher cost. What is the reality currently at CAF?
Yes, I must say this situation where patients are forced to go out of the presence of Komfanoche in search of laboratory services did only come up today. Yesterday, yes, there was strike action, but majority of them who came around were hopeful that probably the issue will be addressed, and beginning today, they will have the opportunity to access the Komfanoche laboratories, but that, I must say, did not happen. We are talking about laboratories in Komfanoche. It ranges, there are about 4 of them: microbiology, we are talking about chemical biology, and a lot of them, about 4 branches at Komfanoche, that patients who come to the facility will normally go and then have services. But unfortunately, that is not happening. With the laboratory scientists on strike, 300 of them are on strike. So you can imagine the enormity of this issue at CAT. Now, management announced yesterday that they are working hand in hand with some peripheral and private laboratory operators to also pick samples from Komfanoche and process them. And we are not too sure of this particular arrangement. I mean, the details of this particular arrangements as far as the cost involved and when and how it will be done are concerned. Management have kept all this information to their chest. But what we do know is that they say anytime any unit or directorate or the hospital goes on strike, management make contingency arrangements to ameliorate the effects of that strike. So this is not different, that they have this arrangement in place to also help the majority of the patients who come to the hospital and need laboratory services to assist with diagnosing and then treatment of these patients. So I must say it's a dire situation at Komfanoche, especially when I spoke to some of the patients and the response I got from them indicating that, yes, management say they have this arrangement, but when you go outside the hospital, the cost of laboratory is a bit higher than what we used to pay at Komfanoche. This gentleman I spoke to had come all the way from Kumasi Etimetim to have a daughter, examined. But unfortunately, because the scientists are on strike, he has to go outside the hospital. And he told me at first at Komfanoche, he was paying 50 Ghana cedis for this particular test results.
Right.
But this time around, he's being forced to pay 30 Ghana cedis more at 80 Ghana cedis. And he was like, if he had not even prepared, there's no way we could have gone ahead with this particular lab result. There are also other patients who told me they can't afford, but unfortunately will not speak on record. So that has been the situation at Komfanoche. It is coming at the time that the striking laboratory scientists are also in a meeting reviewing just a 2-day strike activity they activated 3 days ago, my brother.
So I do know that the lab scientists are not happy with this arrangement when it comes to finding alternatives to the work that they are supposed to be doing. What has been their response in that respect?
Generally, they are not happy. They believe that hospital authorities want to treat them, with disdain. How come we are on strike, and instead of finding solutions to the issues that we raise, you go ahead to some sort of find our replacement at the time that we expect management to address our concerns. So for them, they believe that probably management is a way to renege on their, responsibility, and that management also say that yes, issues of this nature, the resolution will not come from us because as it stands now, Komfanoche Teaching Hospital has no board to take decision on such matters. So they expect the Ministry of Health to resolve this impasse. And the ministry yesterday issued a statement asking the two parties involved to cool off, especially asking the striking laboratory scientists not to embark on any industrial action, but unfortunately, that has already been done. So there's no way the ministry can force these striking laboratory scientists back to their offices. But I must say that they are not happy and they want to meet. We are learning that other parts of the country, there are other laboratory scientists who may want to join the strike action initiated by Kompanoshi, because they are not happy that when it comes to microbiology, hematology, and then chemical pathology, as well as histopathology, which requires their services, now somebody from outside the hospital will come and perform all these duties, and something that they think is out of hand and needs to be addressed.
Ohiming Teria, thank you very much for bringing us up to date on the latest developments there. Ohiming Teria is my colleague with Love FM, and he has been reporting. We take a bit of a break here. When we return, there's more coming your way right here on The Pulse. Thank you for staying with me on The Pulse. Let's talk some legal matters now. And a Cape Coast Circuit Court has acquitted and discharged the chief of Ekumfisrafa, who was accused of the murder of a policeman during the attempted robbery of the chief's filling station in Mankasim. The police accused the chief of firing the gun that killed the policeman, but further investigations proved that the chief was innocent. In court on Friday, the chief, Nana Ochekoko Nyanku, the 7th, was told by presiding judge, His Worship James Kojo Buta, that he was not connected to the death of the policeman and he should walk a free man. Lawyer for the chief, Kweku Benson, says his client has been visited with incalculable reputational damage by the police officers who initially handled the case. He wants the police officers to render an unqualified apology to the chief.
An incident happened, an attempted robbery occurred at the Zen filling station of my client at Mankasim. A police officer was later found dead, and my client, together with a brother, were arrested under the suspicion that they might have been involved in the murder of the said police officer. They were put in police custody. They were vilified, defamed, even when investigations had not been completed. Statements were made by some police officers and some other persons that suggested that my client were involved in the said murder, despite our serious reservations and denial of any involvement in it. We provided evidence of our innocence. They would not listen. Fortunately, the Central Regional Police CID command at the time, having not completed investigation into this matter, so pressed on. And the way my clients were being handled at the time, we decided to take the matter up to the National Police Headquarters. And we petitioned that the whole case be taken away from the Central Regional Police Command. And we are very grateful to the Director General of CID Accra and the Homicide Department Accra and the whole team for giving us some listening ear, conducting serious investigation into the whole matter, including ballistic tests as well. The whole thing was that because my client had a gun, for his defense, naturally he will be the one, he was suspected that naturally he will be the one who might have murdered the said police station, which without evidence cannot be the case. The whole investigation has been concluded, and today my client has been discharged. That it's not possible that his gun was involved in the said murder, and he couldn't have murdered the said police officer. But we're calling on any person, any police officer who, in one way or the other, without knowing the truth in the matter, made any statement that suggested that my client was a person who murdered the said police station, to apologize male or female, Mankesim or Cape Coast, wherever they are. From today, we are asking you to, as soon as possible, apologize. Otherwise, we'll take our own decision. That's the way.
So that is the lawyer of the chief of Ekumfi, Srafa. But the chief himself has also been speaking to us. This is what he had to say.
1st January 2020, I received a distress call from the security man at my station that some masked personnel has entered the premises. So I called Ghana police. They went there, and then as soon as they got there, the robbers started shooting at them. And some officers sustained bullet injuries. So I quickly called my cousin to accompany me to the hospital where the policemen went. Unfortunately, when we went there, they weren't there. So we went to the filling station, and then the robbers had left too. We followed up, went to the police station, and then came back to the station with the police officers. So when we came, the police picked up some exhibits and then took it to the station. And then we all went home. On this note, I would like to thank the Inspector General of Police, the Director General CID, Director Homicide, and his team for seeing through that the right thing to be done. In fact, this was a tough case, and for the police to come out to vindicate us is a plus to the democracy of this country as well.
Well, let's talk some affirmative action news now. And the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, is attributing the delay in the passage of the affirmative action bill to what he says is the constant review of the bill by successive governments. He also blamed Parliament for its delay, arguing that the legislature had in the past failed to prioritize the bill after it had been submitted to the floor of the House. Mr. Bagbin, speaking at a consultative forum on the theme Strengthening Women's Inclusion in Governance and the Urgency of Affirmative Action, guaranteed the passage of the bill under his leadership.
The quota system is the key. And I'm an unrepentant supporter of the quota system. I've always fought for it, and I'll continue to fight for it. The way we are going, if we don't really look at these issues, and we depend on some misunderstanding of what democracy means, we will never get there. And that is why, for me, Ghana's Parliament, we're looking forward seriously to the passage of the Affirmative Action Bill, which aims at offering women 50% quota. I hope you will support us. When passed, the law will ensure that over time, Ghana will take its place among the countries with the highest women representation in decision-making institutions. The Ghana Parliament has the will, and we have the capacity to pass the law in good time. After all, Ghana was the first independent African country to introduce the quota system for women in Parliament. In 1959, the Ghana Parliament passed the Representation of the People Women Members Act, which enabled the president to increase the number of women in Parliament to 10 in 1960. And we all benefited from it. Why not today? Ladies and gentlemen, with all this early best practice and legal imperatives, how come that Ghana has since 1998, when the guidelines on the Affirmative Action Bill were passed by Cabinet, still not passed the law? 1998, following the footsteps of the Right to Information Bill. This has largely been attributed to the low commitment on the part of some stakeholders, including Parliament, towards pushing for the passage of the bill into law. The story has been always revision, revision, and revision. They are always revising the law. And I just told you, Cabinet will have to validate it before it's brought to Parliament. We are following some old British practice where legislation before Parliament dies with the Parliament. And so all the bills they put before us, immediately we end a 4-year term. The bills also end a 4-year term. I don't know where this is coming from. And therefore, they have to go back, I'm told, to the new government, even if it is not a new government, to relook at it, revise it, and then bring it back. And you know the democratic, bureaucratic inertia. It takes a long time before it comes back to Parliament. And when it comes back to Parliament, because we are always cap in hand, doing lala sulala, begging around, more priority is placed on approving loans than passing bills, particularly bills that don't immediately bring the low fruits, you know. And so we have been in this vicious cycle for some time.
And that was the Speaker of Parliament. But speaking at the same program, Executive Director of IDEC, Dr. Emmanuel Akwete, called for structural reforms to accommodate more women in leadership, especially at the local assembly level.
For us, we think that the law is important, and we are passionate about working together with the women's groups who have courageously and consistently pushed for the enactment of this bill and have done great work. Much as we are talking about the bill and how we could get it enacted, the President, in his State of the Nation address in March, said this time around he hopes it will be delivered. And we are happy to support the various processes and also the organizations, the advocates of this bill, to succeed this time around. But we also hold the firm view that given the experiences of law making, it takes a very long time, and also its implementation and its enforcement. Women, 30% of the 30% appointed positions in the Assembly were supposed to go to women. But we are now in the 33rd year of the local government system, and close to 30 years when it was incorporated in the 1992 Constitution, and it didn't happen. So the question I keep asking is, when the law is not complied with or is not being enforced, what do you do? And I think it's pertinent to ask this question because the Right Honourable Speaker is here. And we think it needs to be complemented. This law needs to be complemented. We think that because of the risk that the experience we've had so far, laws will be made but not executed, not in a way that addresses the problems they're supposed to address effectively. We also have to look at structural reforms. Structural reforms that will say that we could expand the spaces for women's representation, not only in Parliament and not only in the fewer spaces in the Cabinet, but in the whole executive arm, spaces could be created, especially at the executive local government level as well. And it's a campaign we must pursue so that these places will be opened up as well. And there are various formulas that can be adopted to increase the number of women's representation in local government, not only in the assemblies as chief executives, but in a whole variety of places.
We now hear from our correspondents, and on this segment of the show, we speak with our correspondents about issues happening within the regions. This week, we've been looking at the water situation in parts of the country, in the northeast region, where 5 people have died as a result of the drinking from unwholesome water sources. We understand some are in critical condition, and the Ghana Health Service has directed that the people stop drinking from that source. The question is, what alternatives are there for the people? Let's connect now with our reporter on the ground, Ilyasu Tanko. Ilyasu, do tell, what has become of the water situation? Any remedies so far?
The fact that there have been several visits to the community by officials of the Ghana Health Service. They have been going to the community to meet with the residents to try and convince them to stop drinking from this unwholesome water source. And they have also been promised by the service to provide boreholes for this particular community. Essentially, the community are saying that the only way for them to stop drinking from this unwholesome source is for them to provide more boreholes or water source, decent water source for them. Because this community has a population of about 1,000, and they are depending on 2 boreholes. One is 40, and so according to the woman, when we went to the community, they have had to, go rely on this particular stream water to avoid long queues and also grudges before getting this particular borehole water. And so they are saying that the only way for them to stop drinking from this particular wholesome source is for the service to provide them with more water sources in their community. And also, we're also learning that this particular disease has been confirmed to be typhoid. The Ghana Health Service confirmed it. As we are learning, they are also following up at the hospital where these people were treated to get more information on this particular situation. And yesterday, the Community Water and Sanitation Agency was also in the community. And what I'm learning right now is that they are testing this particular water and also the water from the 2 boreholes in this particular community, for them to make sure how to deal with this particular situation. So far, that is what has been happening at the Bumbuazuo community.
Right. Ilyasu, do hold, because I would like to find out when I return to you just how critical the situation is of those 5 people who are ill. But we're glad to be joined on the phone line by Gustav Osiakwan, who is the regional coordinator of the Community and Sanitation Agency. Now, let's get some answers. Why did we look on for lives to be lost? I mean, we've got to the point where some are in critical situations and some have even lost their lives. Why did we have to wait till we got to this point? Can you hear me, sir? Okay, so it appears we're having a bit of a technical issue connecting with him. And as and when we do get him, we shall, get him answer that question. But I'll move over to Ilyasu Tanko once more. So I was trying to find out those who are in a critical situation, just where do they find themselves currently and how bad is their situation? Can you share?
Well, most of them have undergone surgery, multiple surgeries, I must say, and some of them are currently at home recuperating. And so others, we understand, are having intestinal infections. And we went to the community, we spoke to a couple of them. And so as I speak to you now, they are currently at home. According to the service, when the Ghana Health Service, when they went to the Nalerigo Baptist Medical Center where these people were sent, they discovered that 7 people, they found a record of 7 people who were sent to that particular facility. And according to them, these people are currently having typhoid fever. So as I speak to you right now, those who are treated and discharged are currently at the Bumbuazu community.
Right. Thank you very much, Eliasu, for sharing those details. Let's now interact with Mr. Siakwan, who is the regional coordinator of the Community and Sanitation Agency. And the question I posed to you earlier was simply this. Why did we look on to the point where lives had to be lost in this situation? Well, it appears we're still struggling to get Mr. Siakwan on the line. We will interact with him later on this specific beat. You would recall that we've been bringing you stories, especially in the northern belt of the country, where indeed we've had acute water shortages, forcing people to use water sources that are not potable. But we continue our water discussion, but this time we move over to the Savannah region, where the police is complaining of drinking from unwholesome sources. And they say a number of theirs have been diagnosed with typhoid fever. Let's listen to Chief Superintendent Ajekum Owusu, who is police PRO in the Savannah region, expressing concerns about the effect of typhoid.
Typhoid? Yes. In fact, it's a serious matter within Damango. We, the police, I mean the regional headquarters alone, 8 of us, including myself, were infected with this typhoid, which we all went to the municipal hospital for treatment. So, and it all boils down to the kind of water we have been using. So since then, I've resulted in drinking either special ice, vortex, belaqua, and those stuffs. As for sachet water, you dare not.
Meaning this sachet water is equally gotten from Damango, and how it is packaged, you are not sure. I mean the sachet water.
The sachet water, we say, maybe because of how they treat it. Some parts in the country, the sachet waters are treated very well. So when you drink it, no problem. But when you even taste the Damango sachet water, you could see the difference with the other ones which are coming from other parts of the country. So I think the way maybe they treat the water is not good.
If the water is not even good, how do you treat it? Yeah. That could be the reason.
That one is another factor. To get a clean water is also a problem.
Well, let's connect now with Isaac Nonya, who is monitoring the situation there. He's our correspondent. Now, Isaac, you have followed the situation. Just how bad is it to the point where even police officers are complaining? Paint a picture for us.
Yes, just as the police PRO put it is a general concern among people who have been posted here to work. You know, they're seeing the situation as a first thing in their lives, because having experienced this before, they feel that a better way of provision of water should have been there for the workers who have come to be able to access. Even the source of accessing water here is a problem. Many of them have to import water from Tambale. And you heard the police commander, PRO, saying that the getting bottled water even here in Savannah region is a problem. So in all, the water delivery system here needs to be improved. If not, many people who are yet to come here or based on posting will be afraid, because if workers who have just come, this officer is less than 2 years, many others who have also come are also less than 2 years. But there were those among the infected ones. Let me also add that the concern is general. We are told that, according to the police PRO, while on our mission, he realized that 2 other medical doctors from the same health facility were also infected by typhoid. And also 3 others at the regional coordinating council were also attacked by typhoid. Even on among the general public, they are also spared. It's general, just that others resort to local treatment instead of going to the hospital. So, and when you look at the situation on the ground, open defecation is very rampant. The municipality over the past 2-3 years has been on the table, low on the table. The score very low, being second by last on the table. And it also is significant that landlords not being able to put up household latrine is the cause of the open defecation. And once you have two water body sources and with couple open defecation, you know that automatically the water that is being drawn from these two dams will be unwholesome. It doesn't matter how one treats it. But when you run from the forest and farms and from households into the two dams, definitely people will be affected. So that is a concern that the police theory was raising. And this is also a general concern among many residents, both indigenous and those who have just come here to work. So the water situation here is general. Now also, the regional minister, who was the immediate past MC of the area, also have problem with the concern raised by the police bureau. It thinks that the water situation is general in the country. It doesn't matter where you get it, but you can't attribute it to the typhoid. Maybe food, bad food or dirty food eating elsewhere could also cause typhoid, and not just the water situation in Damago.
Okay, I know you've also been engaging the regional minister. This is actually what he had to share.
That I beg to differ with that assertion that they have gotten typhoid as a result of water, unwholesome water. I can't believe it, because I, as the municipal chief executive at that time, constructed a borehole, mechanized it for the police. And even the old toilet system that they were having, you know, the old barracks have this bucket latrines. I converted the bucket latrines into water closets. And so, alluding their typhoid infection to unwholesome water, I don't want to believe it. Maybe the water is not the only source that you can get for typhoid. They could have gone to eat some food that can give them the typhoid.
He alluded to.
So for the fact that, so I, as a Rexet chairperson, or as a citizen of Damango, or the political head of the Savannah region, doesn't give food to people. So if you go to eat your food that is not good and you get typhoid, you cannot blame the regional minister. So for me, I think that what I have to do as a regional minister is to make sure that we give them what they need.
The borehole you spoke about,
sure.
What are we talking about? When were they put in place? And when was the last time you...
The borehole, I put it last year.
Last year.
And I mechanized it into a 5,000 liter, 5,000 liter polytanks. So it means it has a storage capacity of 10,000 liters. So the last time I visited the police barracks to make sure that the borehole is working, I was taken around by the officer in charge, the inspector of the station, and he told me that it was working. So I don't want to believe the contraction of the typhoid is as a result of dirty water.
All right, look at it this way.
Sure.
Some people don't eat food outside. They don't buy food outside. And we are told there is being rumored that 2 doctors for the municipal hospital and 2 other people from your outfit here also contracted typhoid. What about that one too?
So are you telling me that people in Accra who are drinking water from Ghana Water Company Limited don't catch typhoid? It could be their way of, it could be their lifestyle.
That's not what, the peculiar case in Damango is what we are looking at.
So let me just be honest with you. At that level of education, you are talking about people within the Regional Coordinating Council. Why would they go and be drinking water that is contaminated when there's borehole water? Even my office here, we are served with borehole water. And so, for me as a regional minister, workers in this office have access to borehole water. And so, borehole water is got from below the water table.
Well, interesting dynamics there being shared by the Savannah Regional Minister. But Isaac, before you let go of us, I know that there's at least one other pressing issue in the community. Residents are agitating about another issue. Do tell us about what exactly their concern is.
Do the rampant accident these days in the municipality. You know, the attitude of the culture here is that when there's an accident, they need an amicable solution to get it out of the place. So the accident vehicle and then the victims are quickly moved to a side that they will have convenience in able to solve it. And this is a case that the police have taken against. The police think that there needs to be an investigation into the said accident and to find out so that they can get records of the brutalities of the rate of accident in the region and the municipality, or to get people who are culpable to face the law. But this is the case, when it happens, it is not so. So following that, one suspect, one victim who passed on yesterday, a female accident victim, is currently in the morgue because the police think that once the accident happened and they moved the truck away, the patient was sent to the hospital, only for them to know that the woman has died. So the only way to get the suspect is to detain the cops and let the doctor conduct the postmortem on it, and for the relation to trace to bring the person who was riding the motorbike. Right. And I think that has been achieved. As we speak, the suspect in police custody, and the body has been released to the family, the deceased family, to go and bury it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the update, Isaac Nyona, our reporter there from the Savannah region. We head now to the northern region. Now, imagine going to school for 3 years without a teacher to help guide you with your learning because the Ghana Education Service had not posted a teacher to your school. That is the current state of the Chichigu LA Primary School in the Salaga North District of the Savannah region. Children in the community have had to learn how to read and write on their own, or sometimes get tuition from Abu Safianu, a senior high school graduate, as and when he is available.
The idea of going to school and coming back without a teacher to offer tuition is demoralizing enough to let most people give up their dreams of getting education. It is even more disheartening when your seniors who graduated from your school ended their education only at the junior high school level. But the new crop of pupils at the Chichigu LA Primary School have big dreams buried in that small community. Meet little Wahid Musa. He is in class 3. He reads and writes very well, even though for the past 3 years he has not had a teacher. I put him to a test to read a book I offered him.
And healthy. It was time for sports. The day was sunny. The teacher said, "Let us run to the field and play." Then he spoke to the class. "Some of you may not eat in the morning."
Let's get more on that. Martina Bugri joins me with more. So what further details can you share in that respect, Martina? Give us the latest.
Now, it's still the same thing. They don't have a teacher. It's just Abu Safiano who would come from the farm sometimes and help them. And so for now, what I'm told is that the Ghana Education Service at the local level is unable to employ a teacher to the school. It has to come from the national level, and that has not happened yet. And so it means that from now until they get a teacher, they would have to study on their own as they are doing now.
So they are studying on their own. What are they exposed to? I mean, I could see looking at them, they are exposed to the elements. It's no proper structure under which they find themselves and all of that. What is the reality of what they have to cope with just to be able to get some learning experience? What do they have to deal with on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, they would have to go through this harsh weather. You know, it's a raining season. It's just begun in the north here, and they would have to sit in this class that's almost it's so dilapidated. You have cracks all over. The roof is not well, and when it rains, it seeps into the office, the classrooms. But they have to sit under the shed or sometimes in that small classroom that they have. They don't have furniture. They have just 3, 2, and sometimes even just 1 in each of the classrooms. And so there's no furniture, there's no proper structure, neither do they have any teacher to offer them tuition. But the amazing thing is that these little boys are so determined to go to school. They learn. You go, and when I got into the school, they were all learning. So I asked one kid how he's able to maintain this, how he's able to sustain learning. He says that he spends almost all his time studying because he wants to become a doctor. And the condition under which he's studying is not going to deter him. He says he would have loved to go to Boom Primary School, which is about 3 kilometers from his neighborhood. But because he has to go through a forest, and for his age, going through that forest to that next community is not too safe. And that is why he has to still maintain staying in his school. And he's hoping that at least the Ghana Education Service will bring somebody who has knowledge, a background on teaching to help them, because they believe that if they are able to get good tuition, they can go places.
Before we get to another very interesting story, I just want you to quickly tell us, has the District Directorate of Education, have they been contacted? How have they been responding to this, the plight of the children in this community?
I spoke to the director, and she says that she's just been transferred to the area. She hasn't got so much information on the school, and so she will get back to me. But I got a call from somebody from the same district this morning to tell me that at the local level, they don't have the power to employ. It has to come to the national, it has to come from the national level. And so once it has to come to the national level, they have no power to do that. So they will just wait. When somebody is posted to the area, then they can, you can repost and you can either post. And so all they would have to do is just wait till somebody is posted to that particular school, then the school can have a teacher.
Well, both curious and pathetic. But thank you very much, Martina Bugri, for bringing us the details of that all the way from the northern region. Now, this week, we also brought you the sad story of a final year JHS student who allegedly committed suicide. Precious Semevo is our correspondent from the Bono region, and he joins us with some updates. Now, Precious, we know parents of the deceased suspect some foul play. What else has come up in that respect?
If you can hear me, the parents, after their suspicion, and as we understand the case, was moved from the Divisional Police Command to the Regional Police Headquarters. The regional office is supposed to take over the case whilst they wait for the pathologist to come and then perform the autopsy to actually identify what caused the death of the 14-year-old Letitia. But we know, at least from the family today, that they have been at the regional police headquarters and they have written their statement again whilst the investigator continues the process. I also understand that some authorities of the school and then some of the students and other people who also have to get to the police headquarters and then write their statements before the pathologists will be made to perform the exercise and then tell us the actual cause of death. But as we understand from the police, they are ready to explore all avenues. The alleged suicide note, the ratings in her diary, and all that, they will go through the forensic audit to ensure that they get to the bottom of it. If it is her handwriting, they will get to know. And then the outcome of the postmortem will also assist them in their investigation. The family currently appears satisfied with the process at the regional police headquarters, and they are assuring that they will cooperate along the line to ensure that they get justice for their daughter, Letitia.
Okay, Precious, now you've also been following up on that court case involving some police officers who allegedly tortured a suspect leading to his death. What more can you report? What is the latest?
Yeah, so the police, the 3 police officers, the bank manager and his 2 security guards, if we recall, they were charged with, attempting to commit murder, and then murder. They have been attending appearance at the magistrate's B, but along the line, they applied for bail at the Sunyani High Court too. Now, that case was called yesterday, and after lawyers of the 3 police officers, that is General Constable Ebenezer Ekufu, as well as General Corporal Williams Akusiong, and then Chief Inspector Eric Kaforo, who happens to be the station officer in SEPA. And then the bank for Kingsford, as well as the security guards, Aaron Abbey and then Ruben Obin, they also had their lawyers. So they met in court, argued their case against the state prosecutor. But at the end of the judge who sat on the case, his lordship, Gabriel Nenekwa, granted bail to the bank manager, Emmanuel Ofori Kingsford, who is 59. Now, the argument is that he's not well, and indeed, he has been on admission for about 3 weeks now since the incident happened. So the bail was granted him on health grounds to every Wednesday, show himself to the regional CID, as well as submit his passport to the High Court registrar, and also with 2 sureties, and those sureties to prove that they are government workers, and also they will provide their passport pictures and the like. So as it stands now, but the judge gave the prosecutor 2 more weeks to ensure that they complete the investigation. And he says that after the 2 weeks, the court will know whether to grant bail to the remaining 5 accused persons at the Sunyani High Court. So we are running, the prosecutors are running against time. They have 2 weeks to ensure that they complete their investigation before they return to court on the 3rd of June for the judge or for the court to again sit on the case as to whether to grant bail to the remaining 5. But as it stands now, it is only the bank manager whose car was allegedly smashed by the late Abu Bukari on that fateful day that led to his death.
Many thanks to you, Precious Semevo. And we stay with our correspondents as we head now to the central region, where we connect with Richard Kwejonyako. Now, we look at the Galamsey menace in that area. Richard, the regional minister has been touring some sites. What has been found so far? What is the latest discovery?
Also, the regional minister has been touring some areas that are seen as the Galamsey activities. These are areas that the Galamsey activities do go on. And so they went to the East Upper Dentra West district, and that is where the River Ofin is. They also went to where the Pra River is. And sadly, where the Ofin River flows from is choked because the Galamsey activities have blocked the pathways of the river. And so she ordered that NADMO should do something about it. And so there was an NGO that they engaged. And so the NGO has been clearing the pathways of the Ofin River to enable the river flow from the Ashanti region. The Ofin River flows from the Ashanti region through to the central region, and then it ends up in the western region. Same goes for the Pra River, where some Galamsey mining sites, they tell us that they don't mine in the river, but where they mine, whatever their processes and their activities are, they end up in the river, and so it pollutes the water. So the turbidity of the Pra and the Ofin River has shot up, and so that has sparked some concern. So the regional minister was saying that if care is not taken and if something is not done about it, very soon Ghana could be importing water. So let's take a listen to the Central Regional Minister.
No minister later, but right now let's hear from NADMO.
We've jammed the main one so that it can flow, because by the time it starts flowing for about 2-3 months, you see that we'll get a clean water, because the people that are doing the galamsey, as we say, they have blocked a lot of the waterway, do the operations. So they need to remove all those blockage so that the river can flow, because everybody knows that this river comes through from Ashanti region, passes through here to other regions. So if we don't open it up, then we can't get the clean water, so that is going to be useful to all of us. So that is what we are coming to do. So anytime with the divisional commander, with the divisional police commander and all the stakeholders in the district, they will support them, then they will make sure that, yes, they do the right thing. Every week we'll come and visit and see how far they are working. So we are appealing to them that when they see anybody who is also coming to do that illegal business, that the galamsey, they just call on the divisional police commander or any of the institution, then they will get them arrested until the time. Hopefully, we'll make sure that the river is flowing well for us.
All right. So how Herculean is this task, to NADMO?
It is something that is dear to our heart, because it is disaster. Imagine that we have a water treatment plant. We cannot even get the river just to get the water treated for us to drink. So it is a disaster. So that is why, as a NADMO, we have to put ourselves in and assessment coming from all these organizations. We just open up for the river to just flow so that it will be useful to all of us. Maybe in about 6 months' time, people living around that has no pipe, tap water can even come here to fetch water to drink. But if you leave it like that, the blockage are still in. There is no way
So, Richard, we've heard from NADMO. Now, I know that the regional minister has been speaking. What exactly has he been sharing?
Also, she was dumbfounded when she visited the site. She couldn't believe her eyes of what she saw, because where she was even standing, I mean, the kind of destruction that has been caused not only to the river, but to the forest. So now people's farms have been turned into galamsey activities. Look at the huge gullies that have been created. So it will take places like Dunkwalofin and then the other areas a long time for the reclamation to be done, for them to return to the normal situation. But for now, she was very, very sad about the situation.
Well, thank you very much, Richard Kwadonyako. And later on, as and when it's possible, we shall bring you the feed from what exactly the regional minister had to say. But Rafiq Salam is joining us from the Upper West region, where the Ghana Agriculture Road Infrastructure Project was launched. Now, the project aims at constructing roads to aid farmers cart their produce to market centers. Now, Rafiq, post-harvest losses are quite a serious problem. How bad exactly is it? Paint a picture for us.
The people of the Upper West region, and let me put it that way, those living in the hinterlands, most of them are engaged in agriculture. And so majority of the crops that they farm is maize. And so year in, year out, they have produced several tons of the maize, but they are unable to carry these produce from the farms either to their homes or to the market centers. And so it's really been a big problem here in the Upper West region. And so the European Union, in conjunction with the government of Ghana, under the Ghana Agricultural Program, came up with some projects. And these are 3 projects. One has to deal with the market-oriented project to enable the farmers cart this produce to the market side. And the latest one is the productive investment one, where the farmers, where they will rehabilitate roads, or also even construct roads to dam sites, irrigation sites, and also where the farms are, so to enable the farmers to cart this produce from their farms to the market centers. And so just last Tuesday, the World Bank, in conjunction with the European Union, the head office, they came to the Upper West region for this project to begin. And so the Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwesi Abankwata MP, he was in the Upper West region to cut the sword. The project is about 670.2 kilometers of road that will be constructed in the Upper West region in about over 40 months. And so this is a project that the people of the Upper West region are really happy about. is going to take place in 8 of the 11 districts municipalities in the Upper West region. But the major worry now in the Upper West region is about where these roads are going to be constructed or rehabilitated. Because from the thinking of most of the people, the food basket of the region is in the eastern corridor of the region. Talking about the Sisala West, Sisala East, and also the Wa East. And so the people are not sure that these communities were eliminated from the first phase of this project. And so the people of the Upper West region are really not happy about it. Yes, they welcome the project with open arms, but they are thinking that it would have been better for the people if it was done in the eastern corridor of the region. So it's a good project, and the people are thanking the government and the European Union for coming out with that project. But let me tell you, one other thing that's happening in the Upper West region, who the people are not also happy with, has to deal with our rules in the Upper West region. Remember, some few years ago, the one municipality was given a facelift talking about asphalt roads. But I can tell you that now they are now giving them bituminous surface. And most of the people that we spoke to, the Upper West region, when the minister was here, when the road minister was here, they were not really happy with what was going. They think that they have been so changed, and they demand that the town should be asphalted.
Rafiq, thank you so much. Rafiq Salam reporting from the Upper West region, specifically why. Thank you for staying on the pulse. Let's fix our gaze on Rosewood now. And the Coalition Against Illegal Logging is urging government to invest the proceeds from the sale of illegal rosewood into planting new ones. Confiscated rosewood has over the years been turned into charcoal, while some has been carried away by the floods. An executive member of the Coalition Against Illegal Logging, Kenneth Asiedu, says Ghana will lose huge revenue if we fail to invest in the plantation of rosewood. Mr. Asiedu also refuted claims made by the Lands and Natural Resources Minister about the economic viability of rosewood. Former Lands Minister Inusa Fuseni has said all activities in rosewood trade in Ghana are illegal. This is due to a ban that has been placed on the export of rosewood in the country since 2018. The former Tamale Central MP, speaking at the Joy Forum on ending illegal rosewood trade in the country on Wednesday, was insistent that transporting of rosewood from any part of the country is not approved by authorities, thus making it illegal. We're joined by an executive member of the Coalition Against Illegal Logging, Kenneth Asiedu, and he joins the conversation via Zoom. So, Kenneth, looking at all the discussions that have been brought to bear on the illegality of the rosewood trade and whether any of it can even be legal at this point in time, why is it that you are arriving at this conclusion? Do share with us.
Okay, first of all, I'll greet the audience and President of the nation. To go with this, I would say, about these rosewood issues, we don't actually go into much details on what Honorable Fuseni said. When you check of whatever he was saying about burning with charcoal, we use the rosewood to burn charcoal and all that. Rosewood is also part of the hardwood in the 3 northern regions. And if you check, it's not only rosewood that is used to burn charcoal. We use all other hardwoods like the papaw and the other species involved. But then, we the Coalition Against Illegal Logging, we want to emphasize much more on the planting and the afforestation of the rosewood, because you can see we can take rosewood as a natural resource, as gold, like how we are doing gold now. Putting ban on the rosewood and our logging of the rosewood gives people the opportunity to do illegal, and which isn't right. So we are all trying to stand against that, because no matter what you do, we are in Ghana here, and so I'll give an example of people taking most of our wood to our neighboring countries like Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, and Togo, just to export, which makes us lose revenue. So we want to emphasize on planting more of the rosewood, which we can harvest in some years coming, that will also benefit those who are coming after us.
Mr. Siedu. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Siedu.
Okay, so secondly, me coming to what we are saying now, like probably what Honorable Fuseni said. I'm really against whatever he said, because actually, if you go through all what he has been saying, it doesn't correspond with whatever is happening on the ground. You get what I'm saying?
You might have to explain further what exactly you mean, because we know that the harvesting of rosewood has been illegal. We also know that it's become problematic, especially in the northern belt of the country. So if you say you do not agree substantially with what he is saying, you are merely proffering that we should plant more of those trees. But how does that counter what Inusa Fuseni has been saying? You can explain further.
Okay, so when I'm saying that the planting will help solve the solution, it will, because now rosewood is already planted, but we have seedlings for rosewood that can be planted, and most of the people who are cutting the rosewood are mostly cutting off reserves. When you go to Forestry Commission, we have what we call off reserve and reserve, and the off reserve are mostly for farmers who have acquired their lands way back in the olden days from their forefathers and all that, and they might have this kind of species on them, not necessarily rosewood, maybe other species, which they want to cut down for farming purposes. But then most of the companies who have been given the rights and the permit by the Lands and Commission, so that they can acquire those rosewoods down. That's why we call it a salvage permit. So if you are telling me, if Honorable Fuseni is saying we should stop, we should ban it, but what I'm going to say is, if you ban it, rosewood cannot be used for charcoal, because at the end of the day, those using it for charcoal are also doing it illegally. And we are just going to stand in to just say we are not going to allow anybody to do illegal logging, and now we are going to help the government with Honorable Jinapo and the CEO of Forestry Commission, so that we do more of the planting, then that can also solve the solution of the logging. And secondly, too, in Ghana,
please wrap up on that second point. Please wrap up on that second point for me, Mr. Siedu.
All right. So what I want to say is that the planting can really help us over this confusion over the logging, but the banning of it is what that we need to sit down and see to it now, because as at JoyNews, let's say as at JoyNews, if you are banned from coming on social media, won't you have another platform to also come and counter? That is what is happening now. So we the coalition against illegal logging are just standing in for those who are going to do the illegal. We are going to make sure they will go through the right process to get whatever they need.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Siedu, for breaking it down for us, what exactly your group is calling for. Let's move on to some other news now. And onion sellers at Agbogloshi have now agreed to move to Ajay Kotoku after 20 years of preparation. They will move by the end of next month. Judith Awachetando was there when the group made the pledge to the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Henry Quartey, and now reports.
For years, successive governments have tried to relocate traders to the demarcated site without success. After 20 years of preparation, onion sellers at the Agbogloshi market have finally agreed to relocate to Ajay Kotoku land site.
The honorable Asipa any Eboa Obebuae Bia Onimre Mse Mre Ason I bet to every Agbogloshi up to
We want to thank the Honourable Minister for the immense help he's rendered to us. I think it's about time we move to Ajay Kotoku from Agbogbloshie. One thing we want to ask of the Minister is to give us 4 more weeks so we are able to follow procedures to move without any issues.
The Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Quartey, however, did not have it so easy. He, along with the Accra Mayor and other officials, had several deliberations with the onion sellers before reaching a consensus in the early hours of Wednesday.
The RCC, in collaboration with the 2 assemblies, the Mother Assembly, the AMA, and of course the Ablekuma Central Assembly, have met with the unions, representatives of the union sellers, more or less the leaders. And we've had almost about 2 to 3 hours discussion. Initially, we gave them 3 weeks to relocate to Ajay Kotoku. They asked for an extension. Finally, we have agreed on 7 weeks. However, we expect and believe same to be true that by the 1st of July, the land that they currently occupy will be vacant for us to take possession.
Although some of the market space had been encroached by residents, it had properly demarcated stores and 2 huts where sellers could set up their goods. Even more interesting was the provision of basic infrastructure around the market square. Just a few kilometers away were the community police station, hospital, fire service unit and schools, which pleased the traders. Ali Umar spoke on behalf of the traders.
So far, so good, because where we are at Agbogbloshie, all of us know that the place is not inconvenience even for us. But here, it's okay. So it's not bad. So what we are going to do now is when we went back to our people, we have to educate them. This is the discussion that we had with the regional minister. So that's what we are going to do when we went back.
The traders, however, pleaded with the ministry to provide banking services in order for traders to secure their monies.
We are trying for the MC and then the regional minister for them to able to engage the banks here with us in the markets, because where we are at the Agbogbloshie, there's a lot of banks just very closer to us. But we can't just come here and sell and carry money into bag and take it home or something like that. If something happened with you by the road, and how you got to do?
Our major problem here is insecurity. Because as we work with money, and because of the money issue, we are afraid of the insecurity that my brother just talked. We carry money along. So if the MC and the regional minister will do with the banks so that it will help us.
The Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Quartey, as part of his efforts to decongest the Agbogbloshie market, has given all wholesale onion sellers situated there a 7-week ultimatum to relocate to the Ajay Kotoku market or will be forced off the Agbogbloshie market by police after the time elapses. Judith Awotretando, JoyNews.
Now, from onion sellers, we talk about a very unlikely story. From zero to hero. That's the story of the Nkoranza SHS, which has just defied the odds to be crowned winners of the maiden Bono Ahafo Zonal Championship of the National Science and Math Quiz. They came from the very bottom to overpower St. James Minor Seminary to win the finals of the championship with 38 points, even though St. James Minor Seminary and their rivals from Susek were tipped as favorites in the contest. It came down to the very last riddle for the Ahafo Bay School to snatch the trophy.
Nkoranza Senior High Technical School has been crowned maiden champions of the National Science and Maths Quiz. Well, they are in the Bono Ahafo zone. Congratulations, sir. How does it feel? Well, you made history today.
I'm overexcited.
You told me yesterday that you're going to win today.
Oh yes, I told you that we are very determined and prepared to meet whoever team. So in the last contest, looking at the way our students put up a very good performance and coming to semi-finals, we were not overstretched because we saw that because we are prepared ahead of time. Any contest that we meet, we know very well that there is nothing that can frustrate us.
It took the very last riddle. Come close to me. You are on stage. It took the very last riddle for you to win the contest. Before that, did you think that you're going to win?
Yeah, we felt that we were going to win because we had hope in God, and also like looking at the way our supporters were supporting us, we had some encouragement that we were going to win the contest.
So it counted, the support from your mates from school?
Yeah.
It did count?
Yes. Please.
But when they overwhelming you, the St. James boys had filled the entire auditorium, making noise at the very instance of they answering a question. It didn't overwhelm you?
No, we're not intimidated because we were well prepared. That is why we were able to face the battle today.
So what do we expect from you? You are going to the national tournament, and your trainer said, just come a bit closer. You spoke to me, I think, 2 days ago, and then you were just transferred to the school, correct? Yes. You've been there for how long?
It's been 3 years now.
Okay.
Yeah,
so essentially, when these students were admitted, you started with them. And you've made history. The first time the zonal tournament was organized, you have won it. You are the first school beating the big names, Susek and St. James.
It feels very good. I have been telling them that they are not supposed to fear anything because we've been preparing. And anything I'm involved, it has to be a win. So I've been psyching and telling them that they have to just have faith and have the courage that everything is going to be on our side. So yes, it was just a win for us.
So, okay. You're going to slay everybody that you meet?
Yes, of course.
Okay, we wish you all the best. In Kranza Senior High School, winning the maiden edition of the Bono Ahafu Zonal Championship, the National Science and Maths Quiz. Very first time. And the guy, the talisman of the school, they call him Small Boy Danger. What's your real name? Come closer. What's your real name?
Titus Obeng.
Titus Obeng. So where did you get a Small Boy Danger from?
Oh, it's not my name.
It's not your name. So how do you feel? Tell me. You carried yourself and your partner, single-handedly carried the entire school on your shoulder to glory. How does it feel?
It feels proud. Yeah.
So what do we expect from you? I see you're a man of very few words. You don't talk much. What should we expect from you?
Oh, by the grace of God, we are going to move further.
Okay. Are you going to win the national trophy?
No.
You won't win. That's a height of honesty and brutal honesty. He says that, we are good, but we're not going to win the national trophy. But that's exactly the feeling here. Regional glory being, imposed on them in Kranza Senior High School. And right now, they are the winning team, and the party is with them. We're going all the way with them. A lot of updates coming right here on the JoyNews channel. My name is Manuel Kranting.
Well, that was Manuel Kranting. I am Benjamin Akakpo. This is where I sign off. But I leave you with some sporting action. The 2021 Ramadan Cup gets underway on Saturday at the newly constructed Fadama AstroTurf. Joy Sports has visited some Zongo communities this week, including Cow Lane, Medina, and host town Fadama. It's now the turn of Nima. Sports is up next on The Pulse.
Oh, guys, come closer. Oh, come closer. Well, Chudu, are you in the house? Yes. Are you in the house? Yes. So what were you doing? 1, 2, 3, what were you doing? Hey. Well, so that's Chudu. They are preparing for the Ramadan Cup this year, and I've been told by their coach Abdullah that they are going to try and win it this year. Last year they were knocked out, yes, in the group stage, but they are feeling that this is the time. Are you ready for Ramadan Cup 2021? Well, okay, guys, so let's do this. Let's invite your coach. Let's make some noise for Coach Abdullah. Coach Abdullah. Coach Abdullah, how is everything going?
Well, fine. We are doing great.
You have a lot of energy in your boys. They are really strong boys.
Yes, you know, last season, as we said, we were kicked out in the early stage, so we prepared for this year 2021 tournament. We want to lift the cup, so you can see that we are prepared for that.
Yes, I can see that. Have you checked the kind of opposition that you have from the likes of Adama, Ashaiman, Cowlin? They've been telling us that they are ready for this one. Have you checked them out yet?
Yes, I heard about them, but you see, as a team, when you are prepared, you are not scared of anything.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know much about them. You just rely on your strength. And I believe my players, their strength, they are capable. So this season, you come, you face us, you go out.
Wow. Oh, he's got a nickname, Papavich. So why Papavich?
My team, they say I'm a Ghanaian Croatia international. So.
Oh, I see. So the Papavich. Yes, Papavich. All right. So I don't know if you're just going to tell us a little bit about how you guys are going to be approaching the play on the day, what we expect from you. Once you're Papavich, is it going to be defensive? Is it going to be attacking? Are you going to score more goals? What should we expect?
A tournament that involves qualification.
Yes.
The only thing you need is for you to qualify.
Right.
And before you can qualify, you need to score more goals.
Yeah.
So those are the things we are having in our bags. When you meet us, we will give you the goals.
More goals?
Yes, that is the thing we are going to do.
I don't know if you can speak to your captain. Oh, so where's Capito? Capito. Oh, Capito. Yeah. Capito, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good.
That's right. What do you have to say to all the other teams who think they can beat you? What do you have to tell them?
They should be ready. We are coming full vim.
You are killing them?
Yes.
Like no man's business?
No, we don't care. We don't care where we are coming from.
That's right.
Yeah.
But are you going to win this one?
Yes, sure.
You're sure about it?
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell me about some of your key players?
Oh, everybody is key here.
Everybody is key here?
Yes.
So this is an all-star team?
Yes.
All-star team?
Yes.
You know what? Guys, we're going to be looking forward to seeing Tudu in action at the Ramadan Cup. That will be taking place in Fadama. It's going to start heavily on Saturday, and then on Sunday, by then we'll crown the champions. And they are telling us that Tudu is going to be the champion this year, right? Okay, you know what? I like your display. I'm going to leave you to do your display as we go. Show me something, man.
So I'm here at the Kanda cluster of schools with Team Nima, the team that won the Ramadan Cup in 2019. And this year, as you can see, they are gearing themselves and preparing for this year's Ramadan Cup. And I'm here with their players and their coach, Coach Vulture. Can I hear something for Coach Vulture? Morale for Coach Vulture. Morale for Coach Vulture. Morale. So, Coach, I came here and I saw your team involved in some intense drills, and then I picked information that your team won in 2019, were unable to participate in 2020. So what should we expect from your team this year?
We have to defend it, because if we won it in 2019, they didn't play because of the COVID. 2020 didn't come on, and this is the so we are the defenders, and we plan to win the cup for the chief imam.
So when I got here and I spoke with you, you said you don't do the Ghana style, you're an English guy. Yeah. So what sort of football should we expect from you and your team this year?
Oh, English type of football. We'll possess but aggressively. We are going to possess but aggressively to score because it's a gala, so you don't have to take risk and you don't have to slow your game. You have to move on. We have to play very tactical, and we have to. Everybody should tag. Everybody have to tag each other so that we can move on and get our goal.
So you heard it from Coach Vulture yourself. Team Nima are not going to take things easy with anyone this year. They're going to play very aggressively on the front foot. So I have here with me one of their very core players. Boss, please, what's your name? What's your name?
My name is Terry.
So we've spoken to Fadama, we've spoken to Ashama, we've spoken to Tudutu, and they said this year they're not coming to take any joke, they're not coming to play. They're coming in hard. What do you have to say to those challenges?
You know, football is not about what you say about, but what you're going to play on the field of play. We are preparing seriously for this tournament because 2019 we won the cup. So this year we are not going to joke. We need to go with aggressiveness and plan very well because all the teams are planning very well to participate in this competition.
Okay. And also here we have another very core player among their ranks. And boss, please can you introduce yourself for us?
Ibrahim Singh.
And please, what position do you play?
Central midfield.
So I just spoke with your coach and I just spoke with one of your key players, and they said they're going to play in aggressively. And then what sort of promise are you going to the Sheikh this year? What should they expect from Team Nima this year?
But no matter what, whether rain or shine, we are going to the final. We are bringing the cup, so we want to win the cup again.
So you heard it from Team Nima yourselves. They said this year, whether rain or shine, they are going to defend their trophy they won in 2019. They are going to bring glory and honor to the name of Sheikh. Morale from the boys.